contractor. I'm talking about money for the future, for AFA and AFR to help us be strong into the future. That's what we're talking about. Dan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tim. Good morning, Ray.
Sick and tired, are you? Sick and tired of the winter there in Philadelphia?
I want to tell you,
I'm not laughing because it's funny.
Mississippi, I didn't even know Mississippi could look this good to me.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be honest with you.
I know.
I'm loving Mississippi right now. I got to tell you.
And Dan means that with all due respect. Yeah, but are you getting hit again? Yet again?
No, we got hit. No, we got hit yesterday.
Okay.
We didn't get much. We only got 3 inches, but they say there's another storm coming in Thursday. So I'm so sick and tired of this. It's unbelievable. I can't even imagine.
I've talked to my friends in the Northeast, and it is starting to impact attitudes.
Everybody's saying the same thing. We got to get out of here. I'm not doing this anymore. That's what everybody says as soon as you meet them.
From D.C.
Hey, Joe, how you doing? I got to get out of here. I can't take this anymore. We're all saying the same thing.
From D.C. to Boston, they're all coming south. Anyway. It'll be springtime with the Phillies to be playing before you know it.
Yeah, we're going to spring training. My wife and I are going to spring training.
Are you really?
For a long. We try to go every year. So
yeah,
we're going to go down and catch a game and
go to Florida, man.
Get us
thaw out,
get us warmed up. Mm-hmm.
I hear you, brother.
Yep.
Well, listen, let's talk about economy a little bit, Dan. I wanted to know where do you think we are? How are we doing here in our country as far as the economy goes? You know, we went through. And maybe we're still in it. I don't know what people described as a recession. We know kind of when that started toward the end of the Bush and then into the Obama years. Yeah. So are we still in a, quote, recession? What's going on?
Well, I guess from a technical standpoint, Tim, we're not in a recession.
Okay.
But I don't believe we've ever entered into a recovery. And I don't think that we are in a recovery right now. And I'm basing that on some historical things that usually happen in a real recovery that haven't happened this time. Things like the poverty rate goes down during the recovery, not up. The median income of a family goes up during the recovery, not down. There are fewer people unemployed during a recovery, not more people. I mean, I'm just talking about some basic fundamentals of an economy that this recovery is like no other recovery that this nation has ever seen.
How much, Dan, do you hold responsible presidents for the American economy? Bush, Obama, whoever. I've always thought that maybe kind of like quarterbacks, too much blame and too much credit often given to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
What about presidents? What can they do really to affect the American economy? It's so huge.
Well, I blame presidents for not being able to get us out of a bad economy.
You think they have that capability?
I do, sure. I definitely do. And I'm talking, when we say president, the president as the leader of the nation has to set the tone for wanting to get the economy turned around. In other words, the government cannot create jobs in the private sector, but the government can incentivize the private sector. Ronald Reagan being one of the most recent examples of that, can create an environment by which is beneficial for private sectors to create a job and to get the economy moving again. And that usually means you're doing things that instill business confidence and consumer confidence at the same time. And we're not doing any of those things.
Why not?
Well, I that's a good question. And some would say that it is very intentional by this particular administration to keep the economy right where it is. And I think that may be true to a certain extent, but I think that it's more of an ideological difference where we have an administration and frankly all of Capitol Hill, in my opinion, that wants bigger government, wants more in government, wants more power, wants more social control. And in doing that, you're never going to give on some important aspects that build a business confidence. Like, for instance, you're not going to give on spending. You're going to continue spending. You cannot desire to have bigger government, more social control, and then say we're going to cut the size of government. It doesn't work. So, but yet it's the cuts in government that will instill business confidence to begin to get more involved. So, it is, I don't always blame presidents for getting us into the mess. That's not usually the case. But once we're there, then it takes leadership to get us out of it.
So you're saying, if I understand you correctly, in a free enterprise system, the natural way things work is to progress and to grow. I mean, we have ebbs and flows, obviously, sure. But freedom leads to prosperity and under normal conditions as the years go by. And you're saying, basically, if I understand you right, a president needs to get out of the way.
Yes. Has to get the government out of the way.
Get the government out of the way.
Yes.
So in the case with President Obama, his economic ideology is what's called Keynesian?
Keynesian.
Keynesian. Mm-hmm. I remember from my classes in college. Mm-hmm. And so he basically believes that the more government, the better, right?
That's right.
And whereas Ronald Reagan would say, no, the less government, the better for the economy.
Correct.
And or would you say that President Obama doesn't really care too much about the economy? He just wants to grow government. I know we're getting sort of into maybe a little mind reading, but at the same time, President Obama's had his ideas and his philosophies and now his policies in place for a few years. We know where he wants to go with this.
I don't think it's mind reading at all,
okay.
Tim. I think that we know now because the reason we know, for instance, I've read word for word every budget this president has ever put forth. I plan on reading the one put forth today. I've read it all. I've read every bill and every plan that he's put through because it gives, not because I want to know what's in it, I do, of course, but it gives you insights to his agenda and into his ideology. And so when I always tell callers that are critical of me for being critical of this administration that I'm not, it's not being judgmental. I'm making true and right judgments in the sense that we know what his ideology is. It's not an assumption because he's revealed it to us through so many different pieces of legislation, put forth budgets, Obamacare. If you just look at Obamacare alone, if you can't come up with a conclusion of what his ideology is in reading Obamacare, then there's something wrong. So I think that it's very safe to say that this is a president that, best case scenario, has put the economy of the nation at the very bottom of his priority list. Or worst case scenario, this is a president that is trying to destroy the economy to develop more dependency upon the government and allow the government to grow stronger and gain more control.
Dan, one of the reasons we wanted to have you on was to have you talk to us a little bit about the AFA Foundation. You've given us the big picture of the economy and some of the, I think a lot of people out there are fearful, uncertain for all the reasons you've laid out. And one part of the work you do is with the AFA Foundation. Tell us about the foundation and how it can help some of our listeners.
Well, here's the thing, Ray. One of the things that if we are fearful about our personal abilities to be able to survive from an income standpoint, to be able to have the resources, one of the things that I've been saying for 25 years is that we have to shift our thinking at some point in time and our attitude. So all the times we have been working we have been saving. We save because we're worried about our retirement. We save, we save, we save. Then we reach a point of getting close to retirement, and we're still of the mindset that we need to save, save, save. One of the things that we've developed at the AFA Foundation is an opportunity to change that a little bit. And I believe that we need to do that and become focused on consumption. In other words, I'm still gonna have taxes. I'm still gonna have insurance. I'm still gonna have certain things that we're gonna have to pay for. And do we have income in which to pay that? And what we've got to do is loosen up the grip we're holding so tightly to with some of the monies that we've saved and carve out a piece of it, not all of it, but a piece, and use it to create some permanent income. And have that as a part of a responsible plan into retirement. So I got Social Security, maybe I have a little pension, maybe I've got an AFA annuity with some permanent income. In doing that, first of all, we're doing the Lord's work. And secondly, we're securing some income that is going to be unchangeable for the rest of our lives. Last Friday, Ray, the Wall Street Journal, or Thursday, or one of those days, last week, had another, I think it's about the 5th article, talking about the benefits of these annuities. And one of the things that it has talked about over the years is people moving in billions of dollars moving to these charitable gift annuities because people are saying, I can't deal with these markets anymore. I'm tired. I just want to know what I've got coming in. Now, I would never suggest for somebody to move it all in there, but the AFA Foundation exists for 2 reasons. One is to primarily help people with their stewardship and help them devise a plan moving into the future. Maybe it means a will, a trust, maybe an investment strategy, and offer the tools like charitable trust, charitable gift annuities to help them in a piece of this securing permanent income, doing the Lord's work, and getting some incredible tax benefits for doing that. And
hey, Dan,
that's what the foundation's doing.
Let
Yes.
me ask you one follow-up question about that. Where along the journey should you be thinking about these questions? Is this something for couples newly married, somebody who's 30, or I suspect if you're 70, you're already into the retirement years, and so maybe, I don't know, where along the way do these kinds of questions about annuities and planning for the future, where should that start?
I would say somewhere, Ray, and that's a great question, by the way, I would say somewhere between 55 on up. I don't think there is maybe, late 80s, it maybe becomes a little more irrelevant. But I think from 55 on up, you'd better be thinking about a plan for this. Now, I know people in their 40s that my wife and I have 7 charitable gift annuities. Now, we did them all at a much younger age than we are now. We did that over a series of years, and we did a little bit for one and a little bit for another, all not paying us income till 65 and beyond. But we started that young. I know people that are 40 that at the end of the year they save, and at the end of the year they take that money, they put it in a charitable gift annuity. And then they do it again the following year, and that's their retirement plan. So I know plenty of people that do that, but really at age 55, you need to really start thinking about planning all of that as you head into retirement.
We're talking to Dan Celia. Folks, are about to give you the information on how to contact us here. The charitable gift annuities can be done with a lot of charities. That's why they're called such. But Dan and his team here, as I said earlier in the program, Dan, in addition to hosting Financial Issues, works directly with our AFA Foundation. So, yes, we are plugging our own ministry. Okay.
Yeah.
No, but why? Because we want to be here in 10, 20, 30 years. We want to be here sharing with your children and grandchildren, the gospel and Christian living information and what's going on in our country. And having a place where Christians can gather on the radio to get good information. So we want to be here for the long haul. And one of the ways we plan for that is with our